Ariccia is a town and comune in the province of Rome, central Italy. It is in the Alban Hills of the Lazio region and could be considered an extension of Rome's southeastern suburbs. One of the Castelli Romani towns, Ariccia is located in the regional park known as the Parco Regionale dei Castelli Romani. Overview. Ariccia is the center of a region that was extremely important in Roman and pre-Roman mythology and religion because of its association with the goddess Diana and the god Virbius. Legend also recalls that it served as a temporary burial place of the Greek hero Orestes. Ariccia was one of the oldest cities of ancient Latium, and as the leader of the Latin League was a serious contender against Rome during the early days of the Roman Republic. In modern times, Ariccia has become famous for its porchetta, pork that is slowly roasted with herbs and wild fennel, and it has been known since historical times for its wine. The comune of Ariccia includes the frazioni of Ariccia and Fontana di Papa. It is bounded by the communes of Albano Lazia, Castel Gandolfo, Genzano di Roma and Marino Lazia. History. There is a connection between the town's name and Ariccia, the wife of Hippolytus, the Roman forest god who lived in the sacred forests near Ariccia. According to a vague reference by Caius Julius Solanus, Ariccia was founded by Archilochus Siculus in very ancient times. Ruins found in the city confirm the existence of a settlement in the 8th–9th centuries BC. From the end of the 6th century BC until 338 BC, the city was the central member of the Latin League. In its territory, which then included the Lake of Nemi, was located the sanctuary of Diana Aracina held by the Latin cities in common, and presided over by the Rex Nemorans, as made famous in phrases the Golden Bough. The association with the cult of Diana led to its development as an influential and affluent center of healing and medicine. In 5008 BC, Lars Porsena, king of Clusium, departed Rome after ending his war against Rome by peace treaty. Porsena split his forces, and sent part of the Clusian army with his son Aruns to wage war on the Latin city of Ariccia. The Aricians sent for assistance from the Latin League, and also from the Greek city of Cumae. When support arrived, the Arician army ventured beyond the walls of the city, and the combined armies met the Clusian forces in battle. According to Livy, the Clusians initially routed the Arician forces, but the Cumaean troops allowed the Clusians to pass by, then attacked from the rear, gaining victory against the Clusians. Livy says the Clusian army was destroyed. In 495 BC, Ariccia was the site of a battle between the Aurunci and Rome, Rome being the victor. Ariccia was definitively conquered by the Romans in the 4th century BC. It received the title of municipium, and expanded towards the valley below, where the Via Appia connected it with Rome. Ariccia became, therefore, the first main posting station on the overland journey from Rome towards southern Italy, being rather near to the imperial capital, and favored by a fresher climate. Ariccia was chosen by many of the Rome's patrici as a location for their leisure villas. It also was recognized for the caliber of its wine and foodstuffs. Martial wrote favorably of its leeks, and Pliny relished a unique variety of Ariccian cabbages. Because of its wealth and its strategic location near the coast, the city was sacked several times during and after the fall of the Roman Empire, by Goths, Vandals and, finally, by the Saracens, who destroyed it in 827. The inhabitants subsequently moved to the ancient Acropolis and founded a new community. In 990 the Castra Mariciensis was a dominion of Guido, Count of Tusculum. During the reign of Pope Nicholas II, the castle was absorbed by the Papal States, from which it in turn passed again to the Earls of Tusculum as a fiefdom. The Roman Church regained Ariccia in 1223 with Pope Honorius III, of the Savelli family, and maintained it until the first half of the 15th century. The population of Ariccia began to decline, however. After a period under the administration of the castle of Lariano, it passed to the Genzano district, which at that time registered only 100 residents. Around 1400 all the territory became property of the monastery of Santa Anastasia alla Trefontaine. After a brief period under the Savelli once more was sold to the Abbey of Grottaferrata. Pope Sixtus IV handed Ariccia over to the Savelli, who executed several works to improve its condition, including the draining of the volcanic lake which lay to the west, between the hills and the sea. In 1661 the city passed to the powerful Chigi family, who rebuilt the splendid Palazzo Savelli Chigi in the main square, in which the invaluable Chigi archives were housed. The Chigi Pope Alexander VII lived for long periods in Ariccia and drastically changed its character, with important contributions from Gian Lorenzo Bernini, designer of the Piazza of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Among Bernini's rich contributions to the character of the town were the Piazza and the Collegiata di Santa Maria Assunta, which faces the Palazzo. In 1854 Pope Pius IX ordered the construction of a bridge. This bridge bypassed the large wood in the valley, which hindered access to Ariccia from Rome along the Via Appia. Nearly a century later, the bridge, along with much of the city, was destroyed by retreating German troops during World War II. Rebuilt in 1947, it crumbled suddenly in 1967 and was rebuilt again. In October 2013, the Vatican announced that Pope Francis and his aides in the Roman Curia, for their traditional yearly retreat for Lent in 2014, would go to the Pauline Fathers Retreat and Conference Center here in Ariccia, instead of the previous custom of spending it at the Vatican. In 2015, the Roman Curia's yearly Lenten spiritual exercises were again held at Ariccia, at the Casa Divin Maestro, from 4 p.m. on the first Sunday of Lent, February 22, 2015, to the morning of Friday, February 27, 2015. The 2015 exercises were to be led by Carmelite Father Bruno Secondine, on the theme from the readings of the prophet Elijah. Servants and prophets of the living God. During the retreat, all audiences are suspended. Main sites. The most noteworthy site in Ariccia is the northern entrance from the famous bridge which leads to Bernini's Baroque Square. The main monuments include the Palazzo Savelli Chigi, whose perfectly restored rooms are renowned as a location for Luchino Visconti's The Leopard and for other historical movies and television programs. Was built by Prince Augusto Chigi in 1740. The Church of the Assunta, by Bernini, whose circular dome was inspired by his restoration of the Pantheon. In the interior the apse is a notable fresco by Borgonon. The Fontana del Tre Canal, once thought to contain the tomb of Simon Magus. Other monuments include the Porta Romana, also by Bernini, and, 2 kilometers outside the city, the venerated Sanctuary of the Madonna di Galera, with facade by Bernini. The latter is the final stop of a religious procession held on the 8th of December and called Procession of the Lady, as a young woman is asked to lead it. The area around Ariccia houses many interesting archaeological finds such as the villa of the Roman Emperor Vitellius, the remains of the Via Appia Antica, as well as those of the ancient temples on Monte Cavour and in the Lake Nemi Basin. Culture. Ariccia has a long history of welcoming artists and writers who have departed from Rome's heat and bustle for the breezy hillsides and groves, overlooking the Tyrrhenian Sea. Horace in one of his satires notes that in escaping from Great Rome, I'm welcomed in Ariccia as a reasonable inn. The forested landscapes of Ariccia, which had given birth to the Latin Roman cult of Diana, also had a special appeal to later writers and artists, especially those associated with Romanticism. Ariccia appears as a subject in noteworthy paintings by Jean-Baptiste Camille Corot, George Inness, Ludwig Richter, Alexander Calamy, Friedrich Wilhelm Schirmer, Adrian Mangled, Franz Ludwig Cattell, Hermann Winterhalter, Oswald Achenbach, M.W. Turner, Mikhail Lebedev, and Richard Wilson. Goethe visited in the 1780s, and Henrik Ibsen wrote his epic verse play Brand in Ariccia in 1865. In Italian Hours, Henry James observed the natural beauty of Ariccia and the pleasantness of the little piazza. The Locanda Martorelli, the hotel which faced the palace in the Piazza di Corte, was a popular stop between Rome and Naples for those on the Grand Tour, and was frequented by artists and writers such as J.M. William Turner, Corot, Henrik Ibsen, Gogol, D'Azeglio, Richter, Hans Christian Andersen, and Henry Longfellow. Today, the Palazzo Savvalicigi often hosts exhibitions drawing from its own extensive collections as well as visiting exhibitions. The palace is also the site of frequent public musical performances. Much of the city's greatest art, Roman-era sculpture excavated by archaeologists, has been distributed to the world's collections of classical artwork, so one often sees the name Ariccia pinned next to statues of Augustus or Diana that are being displayed far from Latium. Education. Ariccia is home to Auburn University's only international campus, the Joseph S. Bruno Auburn Abroad in Italy program, which is housed in the Palazzo Savvalicigi. This year-round program is sponsored by the Auburn University College of Human Sciences and is open to students from any major on the Auburn campus. Transportation. Public transportation is provided by the region's COTRAL bus lines, with regular bus connections to and from Rome. There is nearby train service directly to Stazione di Roma Termini from Albano Lazio, approximately 2 kilometers from Ariccia's main piazza. Twin towns. Kernen-Devenne, France. Lichtenfels, Germany. Prestwick, United Kingdom.